Okay, there are plants all around us. They add so much to this world: color, resources, and food. That's just to name a few. Imagine a forest without trees. Yeah, it's called a desert. Imagine life without vegetables. Actually, that wouldn't be so bad, because vegetables aren't. Plants need energy to survive. A popular belief is that plants get all their energy through their roots. But actually, they get their energy through a process called photosynthesis, which turns carbon dioxide into a carbohydrate. Besides providing energy for plants, photosynthesis also plays many other vital roles in the ecosystem. One beneficial byproduct of the reaction is oxygen, which many organisms need to live. In addition to providing oxygen, plants filter out carbon dioxide, which is toxic to animals in high concentrations.
Inside the plant cell is an organelle called the chloroplast, which is where the reactions take place. The process of photosynthesis starts with light. Light is what fuels the reaction of photosynthesis. The light needs to be transferred into energy, and that's what thylakoids do inside the chloroplast. The thylakoid membranes do this with the help of chlorophyll, which is a pigment that absorbs mostly blue and red wavelengths of light, and which is why leaves appear green, because that is the color of light which is being reflected. This light energy has to be converted into something useful that the plant can use, which is where the light-dependent reactions come in. The light is captured by photosystem 2 at this point. The energy from the light is used to split water into oxygen, which is useful for breathing. And the leftover energy and hydrogen from this reaction is used to pump the thylakoid membrane full of protons, building up a concentration gradient.
With this concentration, the protons push their way out of the thylakoid membrane through an enzyme called ATP synthase, which slaps them onto ADP, which is in the stroma outside of the thylakoids, and in return makes the ADP into ATP. At this same time, photosystem 1 is doing something similar. It's taking in energy from the sun and hydrogen from the water and pushing it through an enzyme called NADPH positive reductase, which puts it on an NADP positive molecule, creating NADPH.
Now the chloroplast has these two high-energy compounds, which are ATP and NADPH. But what does it do with them? The light-independent reactions, or Calvin cycle, are the next step. This part happens outside the thylakoids, in the stroma, which is the fluid-like substance that fills the chloroplast. These high-energy compounds are used to make useful energy that the plant can store, such as glucose.
In the first step of this process, carbon dioxide is brought out of the atmosphere and merged with an enzyme called rubisco, which goes through several conversions to be made into a carbohydrate like glucose. In this process, the ATP and NADPH are reduced to ADP and NAD+, and sent back to the light-dependent reactions to be re-energized. The glucose that was produced can then be used by the plant to make cellulose for cell walls, or combined with nitrates from the soil to make amino acids, or turned into starch to be stored.